The Gadsden Times kickoff show is live. I'm Teddy Couch. This is Kevin Taylor. What a crazy week this was.
Week eight is in the books. Who's in? Who's out? Who's still scratching to get a playoff spot? A lot of teams in our area punched that ticket to go to the playoffs. Now we'll see. We've got a few that are still scratching to punch a ticket, and then a few just, we can't get the basketball season fast enough.
Right.
Teddy, but there were some great games tonight. Just a quick rundown of some of the Etowah County scores. Coosa Christian over Woodville, 47-20. Etowah over Alexandria, 27-7. Gadsden City over Huntsville, 27-7. Gadsden gets off to Schneid, wins their first game of the season, 42-34. Glencoe falls to Weaver, 42-13. Hoax Bluff over Cherokee County in a dogfight, 21-17. Sardis easily over Crossville, 50-27. Southside over Boaz, 45-28. Westbrook over Woodland, 56-21. May Jemison over Albertville, 21-14. So there's some surprising results there that I saw.
Jeremy chimed in and said, "Go Southside Panthers, great win tonight." That was a huge win for the Panthers.
Yeah, huge. I mean, now Southside, quite possibly is looking at a home playoff game.
They were in the driver's seat for the home playoff game right now.
Wow, what a great turnaround for Southside.
Absolutely.
Just in the last few weeks for them to go from, basically looking from the outside looking in.
They were 1-4
for the playoffs.
at one point. And
now, like you said, in the driver's seat to host a first-round playoff game. What a turnaround. I mean, somebody's got – the water is good in Southside right now.
We want to thank you for joining us. If you have any comments, just let us know. We'll try to answer your questions as much as we can. And we also want to give a thanks to Alley's Carpet, located across from Gadsden City High School. Thank you to them for sponsoring us, and they have so many times this season. We appreciate that. Located right across the street, like I said, from Gadsden City. Pulled out a huge win tonight.
Wow, huge win. Two wins in a row for Gadsden City, 27-7 over Huntsville. Now, Gadsden City, again, mathematically is not eliminated from the playoff contention. A lot of things have to happen, like you said. I mean, before we went on air, folks, Teddy was sitting down and he was crunching the numbers and calling Donald Trump and doing a few other things, just trying to figure out how the playoffs are going to shake out for that region, for Region 4, and it's crazy.
It is crazy. Right now you have Austin and James Clemens at the top of that region, both 6-0. They'll play each other next week for the region championship. Gadsden City does not care about that because that has nothing to do with them. So they're looking at trying to sneak in at the 4 seed. So Right now you have Florence, who is 3-3, and then you have Bob Jones and Sparkman and Gadsden City are all 2-4.
Wow.
You have Bob Jones and Sparkman hold the tiebreaker over Gadsden City. So just to make this easier, instead of just going on rambling about all the different ways, no matter if Florence and Sparkman play next week, it doesn't really matter what happens in that game. Gadsden City simply just needs Bob Jones to lose to Huntsville. That's the big game Titans fans need to watch. As long as I'm crunching my numbers right, it's possible that I'm wrong. If I am, please let me know so we can get it all sorted out because this stuff's crazy. Right. But I think Gadsden City really needs Huntsville to beat Bob Jones, and obviously they need to take care of Grissom next Thursday night. Right. That's the most important thing. Gadsden City's got to worry about themselves before they can worry about anything else.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've got to take, like I said, just a reminder, the Gadsden City Grissom game will be played Thursday night, not Friday night next week. So if you've got an opportunity and feel like driving up to Huntsville, I would suggest you do so because the Titans are on a roll right now. Two wins in a row and looking really strong. Jamontez Woods with a huge night tonight, 3 touchdown rushes tonight, close to 200 yards rushing. He's been toting the mail for Gadsden City all year long, but he had a really huge breakout night tonight.
Big players make big plays, and when Gadsden City needed him most, he answered the call as he always does.
Yeah.
They really needed him tonight to come through with big plays, and he did so. Also the Gadsden City defense has played well at times this season. Sometimes the offense is 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Now they're starting to move the ball, and Gadsden City's defense is playing well. I think Quentin Dinsmore returned another touchdown, an interception for a touchdown rather. I don't think he's done that before this season. I'm not sure how many interceptions Dinsmore has. I'd be interested to see. The defense is stepping up, playing big, and the offense is also starting to move the ball, and that's equal 2 wins for Gadsden City right now.
Well, and one thing that I noticed too, huge stat that you won't see anywhere else is that in terms of Gadsden City and their special teams, if I'm not mistaken, I remember seeing, I think I saw a tweet where Gadsden City had 3 blocked kicks tonight. That's huge.
Gadsden City seems to always do that. Even before Sessions was there, whenever it was Matt Scott, it's been that little playoff run they made in the semifinals. They were really doing that a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Gadsden City's usually pretty solid on special teams. They're just getting it done in all 3 phases. And quite frankly, right now they need to. This is when they need it most, and they're getting the job done.
Yeah.
Brandon chimed in, and this is something I want to bring up, especially because you were talking about this. Looks like Fort Payne is sitting rather pretty right now. Big win against Hazel Green at Hazel Green.
Yeah, I talked before we even went on the air. This is one team, in Class 6A that right now is probably one of the more dangerous football teams in the state right now. Fort Payne over Hazel Green tonight, 52-42. Hazel Green, like I said, is nothing to really thumb your nose at. As long as Smitty Grotter continues to stay at Hazel Green, mark my word, will get better as the years roll along. And Fort Payne, they ended up losing to Etowah 21-14 in week 5, and since then Fort Payne has just really been on a roll. And right now, if you are matched up against that region and you see Fort Payne on the other side of that matchup, it could spell trouble for you. You could be one and done in the playoffs, because I really think Fort Payne is probably one of the hottest 6A teams in the state right now.
It seems like they are playing good ball, and it's kind of interesting when you see that Etowah score. Now it kind of makes a little more sense seeing how well they are playing. So big win for Fort Payne.
Another big win, and I don't want to make light of this. You've got 2 teams that came in without a win, West End and Gadsden, and Gadsden comes out on top tonight with their first win of the season, 42-34. Cameron Hawkins for Gadsden easily eclipsed the 400-yard mark tonight, rushed for 4 touchdowns in this win. And to put a cherry on top of it, Coach Swain Morris picks up his 100th victory as coach at Gadsden. So big congratulations to the Bulldogs. Congratulations to you, Swain. You are one of the class coaches in the state and in this area, and kudos for win 100.
Absolutely, and come against a region foe, but also a county foe. I'm sure that's always fun when you see 2 teams going at it, regardless of record. So congrats to Coach Swain Morris over at Gadsden.
Another big game that really jumped out at me, and I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so, Teddy. Hoax Bluff, Cherokee County, 21-17. Hoax Bluff ends up having to score late in order to win the game. Throw out all the record books, throw out the rankings and everything else. When Cherokee County and Hoax Bluff play, it's none of that stuff matters. It is just it's just a grind them out. Who is the best team? Who's got the ball last toward the end of the game? That's who's going to determine who's going to win that ball game. Hoax Bluff comes out with a big win, and probably like Coach Mike Robertson told J.J. Hicks, is that this is one of those games that as we go into the playoffs, and as deep as I think that Hoax Bluff will go into the playoffs, this game is going to be huge in terms of that team, in terms of character, gut check. When the chips seem to be down, Hoax Bluff said, we're going to find a way to win. And they also found a way to win with a third-string quarterback, too.
Well, that's impressive. I know I've talked to Coach Rob earlier in the season, and he told me, he's like, I want to see us be able to kind of sustain drives. We've had a lot of those big plays. We're scoring quick. We really haven't had those drives where we need to, 10-play drives, 11-play drives, to where we just got to drive and keep on. And it seems like tonight, when they needed to do it most, they were able to answer the call, and just a big win for Hoax Bluff, especially heading into the Jacksonville game, because that is the game of the week next week, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah. By far, that may be the one of the biggest games in North Alabama, actually. Another game that stood out to me tonight was obviously the Southside Boaz game. I don't know how many folks outside of the folks in Southside picked Boaz or picked Southside to win the game, but Southside played a whale of a ball game and came away with a 45-28 win over Boaz, and that pretty well puts them, like you said, in the driver's seat for a first-round playoff to host a playoff game.
The Panthers are playing some great football right now. I want to say that makes 143 points in their last 3 games combined.
Wow.
And that's how they really struggled offensively. I want to say before that Douglas game, the most they scored in a game was 14 points. They're turning on at the right time. They're at 1-4 overall to now being in the driver's seat to host the first round of the playoffs.
Wow.
So shout out to the Panthers. They're playing their best football when they need to. I mean, a lot of our teams are doing that. It seems to be kind of a repeating pattern when we're talking about a lot of our teams, but that's what Southside's doing. They played big when they needed to. Cat Bothwell with another huge night.
Yeah, Cat Bothwell with well over 230 yards rushing tonight. If I'm not mistaken, 4 touchdowns tonight. And then, of course, Southside's defense. Christian Collins comes in for Boaz, averaging well over 8 yards per carry, and he gets held to probably one of his lowest totals, and maybe one of his lowest totals this entire season. He ended up rushing for 121 yards tonight, and I think Southside found a way and may have shown a few other folks around the state how to kind of put a little bit of a chink, or found that chink in Boaz's armor. And like I said, Collins still over 100 yards rushing, but Southside, it just seems to me they just wanted it more.
Absolutely. And all Southside needs to do next week is beat Crossville, and then they have the number 2 seed locked up. So, and that seems very likely with the way, Crossville, Southside should very well be able to beat them. So, great job by the Panthers. And if you're joining us tonight, just shoot us some comments. And so if you have any questions, just let us know. We'll do our best to answer them. Teams are kind of shaping up playoff-wise. Some teams are in, some teams are still fighting. So if you have any questions about that, just shoot them to us. And we also want to thank Sally's Carpet, located across from Gadsden City High School, for being our sponsor tonight, and shout out to them.
Another game, Coosa Christian win over Woodville tonight, 47-20. That clinched a playoff berth for them. They're looking pretty strong. They may have to be on the road in the first round of the playoffs, but quite possibly as a number 3 seed, not as a 4. So, that 2-3 matchup is always up in the air. You never know what's going to happen with that. So Coosa is in. Another team that's in, Etowah over Alexandria, 27-7. And Etowah now looks poised to win the region championship if they haven't already clinched it with a Boaz loss.
They'll need to win next week, because if Boaz beats Etowah and then Southside, then as long as they win, you could have a 3-way tie. I think Etowah would probably still have it, though, because it probably go to not outside of the region, and Etowah's obviously undefeated there.
Undefeated, yeah.
But I don't want to say that for sure, but as long as Etowah takes care of business, then they will be the region champs next week.
And a huge game, again, Etowah defense. I mean, you saw the game, Teddy. I mean, how good is this defense right now?
Well, they were at one of their top defensive linemen, Trey Cole, in the middle, and they held Alexandria, who is known for running the football, to negative 9 yards rushing.
Wow.
So that tells you everything you need to know. They were at one of their top defensive guys. That didn't matter. They held them to 20 yards of offense total. Alexandria's quarterback, Jacob Wells, was 4-13 passing for 29 yards. Weren't able to get much going there. And they see Nana Davis had a 29-yard interception on Alexandria's first drive of the second half, and that kind of put it away and melted the clock from there and just stuffed them in the backfield continuously defensively.
Wow.
Edward just does what they do, and they just control the game on defense. I mean, the offense does what they need to do and plays in the defense's hands, and the defense takes care of business week in and week out.
Yeah. Well, having seen Etowah play and that defense play, and as consistent as they have been defensively, I tend to wonder right now, does Etowah have the best defense in the state?
I would like to see defense better. I would just say that. Now, I am curious about Etowah, and I'm not saying that they can't play against a team that passes the ball a lot because they have great defenders. You have Nana on one side, great athlete, and then obviously Justin Harris. Everybody knows who he is, Vanderbilt commit. I'm curious to see when they go against a team that slings the ball around the field a whole lot. I still think they'll do well.
Yeah.
But that's kind of interesting to me to see that because they face a lot of teams that are run heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. If you go in against Etowah and your strength is running the football, good luck to you is all I can say.
Yeah. Good luck. Another team that clinched a playoff berth tonight, Westbrook Christian, 56-21 over Woodland. They're looking pretty right now in the playoff picture. Golly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our teams of the 10 teams in Etowah County in the playoffs, and then of course you got to look outside the area. You look at Fife. I mean, a big 42-26 win over North Sand Mountain. They're looking. I think they pretty well that clinched the region championship for them. Geraldine, they solidified their region championship with a 28-7 win over Susan Moore. Other teams just outside our area, Ohatchee 28-0 over Ranburne, Piedmont 42-0 over BB Comer, Plainview over New Hope 12-7, and then Cleveland County over Asheville 54-34. One team that did go down, number 1, Sachs.
I haven't heard that yet.
Beat like a drum by Randolph County. If I'm not mistaken, that final score was 41-21.
Wow.
And Randolph County was pitching a shutout all the way into the fourth quarter, and then finally Sachs got on the board. So there's going to be a shakeup in Class 3A next week in terms of who will be number 1. That's also going to shake up that region in terms of the playoffs and how they rank in that playoff bracket, because golly, without a doubt, that region may be one of the toughest regions in the state outside of your Hoover region in Class 7A.
Absolutely. That is a very, very tough region. Patrick says Southside turning that region upside down. They absolutely are.
Oh, yeah. But, before Southside wasn't even invited to the party, well, they're party crashers right now.
Absolutely.
And so right now they may be the belle of the ball. So, again, Southside, a huge win, 45-28 over Boaz. Quickly, just some of the scores around the area. Coosa Christian over Woodville, Etowah over Alexandria, Gadsden City, 2 in a row now, 27-7 win over Huntsville. Gadsden, their first win of the season, 42-34 over West End. Glencoe falls to Weaver, 42-13. Hoax Bluff comes from behind to beat Cherokee County, 21-17. Sardis easily over Crossville, 50-25. Boaz falls to Southside, 45-28. And then Westbrook over Woodland, 56-21.
Michael, if you could help me out, I can't read all of Brandon's comment. He asks, how do seedings work in the playoffs? I know region champs get first round home game, but I can't see what he said after but.
Sure. Here's the rest of the question is, how do seedings work in the playoffs? I know region champs get a first round home game, but if they win that first round game, don't they also host round 2? And I know going across regions in the first round, it's a 1 seed versus a 4 seed from the other region, and a 2nd seed versus a 3rd seed, right? So that is correct on the seedings. A 1 plays a 4, and a 2 plays a 3. 1 and 2 are at home, 3 and 4 in the other region travel.
Right.
But I think the big question here is if they get a first-round home game, do they host the second round, or how is that decided via the bracket?
Not necessarily. Here's the thing, and this is where, this is where sometimes your region champion really gets the screws put to them. And that's where if, say, your region champion wins, but then the team that they're matched up against ends up, or the team that they're matched up against, and they were on the road and they win, then the team that has traveled the farthest ends up hosting. So you turn around and say a 4 seed or a 3 seed may get to host a second round game, whereas your region champion who's done what they need to do, which is win your region, they get a first round game, then they turn around and they're going to have to go on the road because, say, a 4 has come in and just turned things upside down.
We can't get me started on this subject because we'll be going forever, and this one really gets under my skin. I don't think it's fair to a team like, let's say, Hoax Bluff or Etowah. It's just
Right.
say they finish the season undefeated, hypothetically here, and they're matched up against they beat the 4 seed from the region they cross with, and then say the team that they will play in the second round is the 3 seed, they upset the 2. That means Hoax Bluff's got to travel.
Right.
How in the world is that fair? I get it because you're doing it travel-wise and
I
money
don't
for the
either.
schools. But if you take care of business in the regular season, you shouldn't be punished.
No, you should not be. I totally agree with you. I've said from day one, I really think the AHSA needs to look at their bracketing and how they do the high school footballs, and don't even get me started about areas in basketball and baseball and all that type stuff, because that's another conversation for another day. But in terms of football bracketing, I'm sorry. I've been in Georgia. I worked in South Georgia for a number of years. If anybody who knows how to set up a football playoff bracket, that's the state of Georgia. They set it. That's the way it's going to be. And 9 times out of 10, it's done right, where your region champions are not penalized.
Right. And Brenda comments, says, big shout out to Hoax Bluff, still undefeated. Huge win for them. I think that's a game they needed, like Coach Rob said.
Yeah.
And especially heading into a game like Jacksonville, where Hoax Bluff's been blowing folks out all season long. But I think next week we're probably not going to see a blowout if the game goes as we expect. So I think having a close game is big for them, especially considering who they have next week in Jacksonville.
Right, hosting Jacksonville, that's going to be a huge game next week. I will venture a guess, Teddy, and I'll go ahead and make that prediction right now. This early, there will not be a place to sit at Hoax Bluff next Friday night. There will probably be chairs set up along the fence lines and everything else, because I would imagine this game's going to be sold out and the stadium should be filled to the rafters. And if it's not, then shame on you for not going to a game like that, because this game's going to be huge in terms of not just for a region championship. You got the number 2 team in the state. Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken, is number 4, I believe, in the state as well. So, I mean, this is going to be a whale of a matchup. And if you're not there to see it, hopefully you're at another high school football game. But otherwise, if you don't have anything to do, wrap up.
Jacksonville's number 3.
Yeah, Jacksonville's number 3. Okay, so we're looking at a 2-3 matchup. I mean, really? Come on. This late in the season? That you might as well call that a playoff game right there.
Right.
So,
one of the big games in the States for sure. Hoax Bluff always shows up well. I remember when Hoax Bluff made their baseball run in the playoffs. By 3 o'clock, literally. The chairs were right there at the fence, already lined up. So I know Hoax Bluff will be there in the green and white at a big time at Mike Robertson Stadium now.
Yes.
That's the first big game for Mike Robertson Stadium, so it'll be interesting to see how Hoax Bluff comes out and handles that one. I want to say, too, I'll have to look, and I'll have it for Wednesday's preview show, but I want to say Jacksonville has won like the last 7 against Hokes Bluff. I know it's been
Wow.
a while. So they'll be breaking a streak against them, and if they can pull out the win, so it's going to be a fun one for sure.
If you want to know more about tonight's games in terms of who did what, go to the GadsdenTimes.com, go to the sports section, check out all the game stories that are there, roundups. There are a number of photo galleries that are already online and posted, as well as videos from tonight's games. And then come back and join us Wednesday night around 8 o'clock, if not sooner, and we'll do the Gadsden Times kickoff show for Week 9. Looking ahead to some of the games that will be played in Week 9, Coosa Christian hosts Valley Head. West End will be at Woodland. Westbrook is at Cleveland. Southside's at Crossville. Sardis at Albertville. That's a huge rivalry right there. Hokes Bluff, number 2 versus number 3, Jacksonville in Hokes Bluff. That place is going to be rocking next Friday night. Glencoe's at Sachs. Gadsden hosts Ohatchee. On Thursday night, Gadsden City goes to Huntsville and plays Grissom. Again, like I said, that's a Thursday night game, and that is a huge game in terms of the playoffs for Gadsden City. Gadsden City, again, in a must-win situation. They got to win that in order to still be in the playoff conversation. Etowah versus Boaz. That's still a huge game. There's a lot of backstory to that matchup right there. And but we thought that very likely would have been for the region championship, but then the Party Crashers came in, Southside, and they turned the whole region upside down. Albertville's hosting Sardis, Alexandria's at Douglas, Cedar Bluff's at Collinsville, Cherokee County hosts Cleburne County, Fort Payne versus Coleman. That's going to be a whale of a ball game. I don't care who you are. I'm telling you, Fort Payne is playing extremely good football right now, maybe one of the hottest teams in 6A, and that Coleman game, that should be an interesting ball game. I don't know who I'd pick in that one, but I think I'd have to go with the hot hand and go with Fort Payne right now.
Brenda said yes, Jacksonville has won the last 7, and that's the only team that beat Hokes Bluff last year. I can't read the rest of her comment. It won't let me click see more, but I thought so, and I think it goes back to the late 2000s in terms of the last time they did beat them. So that's going to be a big one for Hokes Bluff, and I know that place is going to be packed out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can count on the Gadsden Times to be there. We'll be staffing that game, photography, video, everything. Like I said, go to thegadsdentimes.com, check it out. We'll have preview stories and everything as the week rolls through, and leading to a exciting Week 9. I don't think I have seen more of a more exciting Week 9 in terms of high school football just since I've been here than this year, because there is so much on the line in terms of playoff berths, playoff chances for folks to get in, and also really playoff seeding.
Right.
So
I don't know if we have any details on this game. I know we mentioned the score. Do we have any details on how Sardis beat Crossville or not?
I don't believe we do. I just know that Sardis laid the wood to them.
Shout out to the
50 to
Lions.
20. Yeah, big bounce back win. Really,
they're not. They're officially out of the playoffs, but still to come out and play and win big, that's big for them. Just to keep fighting, even though the postseason's over, but they want to finish the season strong for sure.
Yeah.
And then Glencoe, do we have any details? I know Glencoe was playing with them in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think it was 7-7 at the end of the first quarter with Weaver, and then I think just there was just too much Weaver and really not enough offense for Glencoe, which has kind of been the tale for Glencoe all year, is that their offense has just not been very effective. And the Glencoe comes out 9 times out of 10, they play extremely well in the first half, and then just I don't know whether they just give out of gas or what, or the opponents are making really good adjustments, and they just shut it down. So like I said, Week 8 is in the books. A number of teams have punched their ticket to the second season for the playoffs. I have a feeling we're going to be super busy the second week of November.
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of teams in the playoffs. Just kind of curious to see who's hosting and who's traveling and where they're traveling to.
Yeah, where are you traveling to?
Who knows where I'm traveling to? I'll be going everywhere if at all possible.
I hear you. Folks, we thank you so much, and we especially want to thank Allie's Carpet for being a sponsor for tonight's review show, and like I said, a tremendous week 8 in the books. We thank you for your time, and we're out.